Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Smitty Talks. And today we're going to be going over some wild things from conspiracies to prophecies, history to you name it, we got it. We'll talk about it. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fact that my ears are ringing with tinnitus right now. Ah! There we go. Anyways, all jokes aside. So, today's topic, we're going to be talking about the biblical prophecies of the end times, the book of Revelations. Why would I be talking about this? Well, it's been about a week, almost 2 weeks now since Donald Trump's attempted assassination. And obviously that almost did happen. And the reason why I'll be talking about this is because a lot of people on the internet, whether they're left-leaning, right-leaning, in the middle, all over the place. I've been hearing a lot of people say Trump is either the Antichrist or I've been hearing that Joe Biden or Kamala is the Antichrist. Even as far as going back, doing some research, when we go back, there's claiming that George Bush was the Antichrist back in his presidency of the early 2000s. But then we also got President Barack Obama being the Antichrist from what people claim. Now, here's my 2 cents on it. In all honesty, don't have to agree with me, because quite honestly, when you read the book of Revelations, it's not going to reveal who the Antichrist is. For all I know, it could be a male, could be a female, could be a famous rock star, or a different type of genre of a musician, or it could be some famous big celebrity, or could simply even be as simple as a politician. The only issue is that we will never truly know until a lot of other signs happen. And to go as far as to say that we are living in the end times, that's actually pretty believable. And the only reason behind why I think it is believable is because we almost live in what is considered a cashless society, where all of our money is monitored, between people not using really cash or coins anymore, and the fact that we switched a lot of stuff to debit and credit cards, that I can believe. That's why I think, in all honesty, I know it's easier to use a debit or credit card. Cash is king. Cash really helps a lot more than, in my opinion, debit cards. And not only that, but you'll get your money's worth when you pay in cash, especially when you pay with bigger bills and you get change back for that instead of paying the exact amount that your debit card will pay for. And then you can save up those coins too and eventually get more money in the long run. I'm gonna take a puff here. Some Geek Bar. Geek Bar is a pretty good brand. But that's not the only thing. The other thing probably too would have to be a lot of people have pointed out that Israel's in the middle of the process of building the third sacred temple, and a lot of things too that correlate with Israel right now for the end times is that the Bible does say that there will be rumors and whispers and even far out war with nations. And then not only that, but even going as far as to say that the Euphrates River would dry up, and after it dries up, some people speculating that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse will arise out of that, what used to be the river. And then, if I remember correctly, it was conquer. It was conquer, famine, pestilence, disease, and death, if I remember correctly. But why do I think Donald Trump is, per se, not the Antichrist? Is really, I know he does a lot of stuff that it's like, okay, come on, you're acting like any politician now. Why are you acting like this? It's because of the fact that if he truly was the Antichrist after he would have been killed, he wouldn't have given the credit to Jesus or God for saving and protecting his life. He would have just straight up said right then and there, "Oh yeah, I'm just lucky." And not only that, but there will be people when the Antichrist rises to power trying to stop the Antichrist. And it might not be a he, it could also be a she, like I said. A lot of people speculate it's a he. Sometimes I speculate it's a he when we don't know who it is. But the Antichrist will even go as far as to show that they have these divine and all powers unlike any human has. And people will bow down to the Antichrist only because they think that the Antichrist is the chosen one. The false shepherd will show the power that they have in order to control and dominate the world. And eventually, they'll even go as far as to create world peace for all the nations. There will be no more global conflict whatsoever. And a lot of people don't seem to, or think they know about the book of Revelations, and then think that eventually, oh, well, we just know who. No, we're not going to know until they truly show who they are. And on top of that, there's going to be, between the fact that we still need to have the beast of the sea, and then there's also gonna be a dragon. And the reason why there's 3 evil entities working together is because, of course, Lucifer himself tries to be and go above and beyond, trying to act like God. Well, unfortunately, he's not God. And then, on top of that, let's see. They'll go as far as to tell you that the people that wear the MAGA hats and get all the accessories and this, that, and the other for Donald Trump, oh, well, that's the mark of the beast. Okay, but I can counter-argue that and say, well, you getting your vaccines for COVID, and on top of that, getting a microchip implanted into your wrist, I can consider that the mark of the beast. Have you ever thought of that? Because if you think about it, during the time of COVID, no vaccine, no mask, then no service. And that's unfortunately what will happen during the end times, is that the fact that 2/3 of the planet will be destroyed, and on top of that, nobody will be able to purchase any items whatsoever. Food, water, clothes, essentials, unless if they have the mark of the beast. And we will change into a one world government, and on top of that, we will also be a cashless society, all using the same currency when the end time does come. So you sit there and you think to yourself, oh, well, none of this stuff has happened. Well, true, but we are getting closer than you can hardly ever imagine. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that all this stuff seems to correlate with each other, just like how the Bible explains it. But of course, too, we would also have the rapture, and we would also have the tribulation period eventually at some point. And not only that, but we would also hear God's trumpets in the skies. The seals shall be broken, the trumpet shall be blown, and then on top of that, there's a lot of stuff that really needs to happen before we can speculate who the Antichrist is. But if you want to talk about Bible prophecies being fulfilled, there's two of them that are fulfilled already. One of them being that Israel, the home of the Jews, will no longer be the home of the Jews and shall disappear off the face of the planet, which it did in history. When we look back, you can see that Israel lost all of its original inhabitants of what used to be Israel, and eventually was forgotten and ridden. Now let's look at recent history. Prophecy number 2, Israel shall come back and rise once more. Now, this is a pretty big debate right now, too, between pro-Israel, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, pro-everything. So, Bible prophecy states that Israel shall rise once more as a nation, and which it did. Back before World War II started, the British and the United States did everything to help Jews regain, and they redrew the map of Israel and then said, okay, Palestine, you're going to own these certain territories. Israel, you're going to own this certain territory. Sound like a good deal? Now, who wants the land? Who wants more of the land? And they both said, me. And unfortunately for Palestine, Israel won, and that's why they have majority of the land that is considered Israel's now. And of course, too, another thing would be is that when the end times does happen, unfortunately, there will be a point where the United States might not even be a nation anymore. The only ones that will truly be around are the 12 tribes of Israel. And the United States ain't going to have anything to do whatsoever with anything other than whoever's left behind during the 7-year tribulation, and then the second coming, where Christ returns and it's the battle of good versus evil, and evil loses and good always wins, and 1,000-year reign of a new heaven and a new earth. And then a lot of people speculate that it'll affect everybody in the world, and it's like, well, no, it says that a good chunk of the earth shall be destroyed when the Bible prophecies of the book of Revelation does happen, and I don't think the United States is going to make it. And how everything's playing out right now in the United States, I don't think we'll even be a country for so long. Without a doubt, we probably will not be a nation much longer. And I only say that because it seems like instead of unifying as a nation, we choose to divide as a nation. See, we can make the facts all we want about how we're the biggest and baddest, but Abraham Lincoln himself said that the United States shall not be destroyed by a foreign ally, or not even just a foreign ally, but a foreign tyrannical threat. I say ally only because, without a doubt, I wouldn't be surprised if some of our allies betrayed us. But it will be the United States itself destroying each other on the inside, all because of the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, and many other things that you could use to destroy a nation. No other nation has freedom like we do. Freedom to own guns, the freedom to practice any religion you want, and also many other freedoms that are your rights as an American citizen. Well, we're not a communist nation. We're not like North Korea or China where the government can tell us what to do and we have to sit there and obey it. And we're definitely not a socialist society because we don't have anything where governments has certain regulations and rules but are kind of more lenient, and free universal health care and this, that, and the other, while we're a capitalist society. And unfortunately this economy is also going to shit. And I'm not going to sit in here and play the blame game and say, oh, it's Trump, oh, it's Biden. It's all our government. It's not just one individual right behind the Oval Office. I don't know why I said Noble. It's all of our government politicians. We keep electing a bunch of people that don't know how to run the society and just think, oh, well, I know how to run it. So at the end of the day, it's all me, only me that knows how to run it. And then we get all these politicians together that seem to want to butt heads and not come to a conclusion or an agreement. I mean, you want to fix this society and this economy. Time to start electing people that actually care for the country and people that don't want to divide and conquer based off of, well, I'm part of the left or I'm part of the right. Time to start thinking in the middle. I mean, I grew up during a time when no matter who was president, you gotta respect, or at least respect, the fact that it's the president's position. Now I live in a society where it seems like the president's position is nothing but a joke. No debating seriously, no whatsoever taking the time to address the nation properly, avoiding certain things at all costs, and on top of that, just looking like we are just pathetic and weak and divided. I guarantee you one thing. They tell you, oh, the Civil War, it's gonna be Republicans versus Democrats, gun lovers versus gun haters. No, it's not gonna be one side versus the other like the first American Civil War. It's gonna be a war where everybody's at war with one another instead of being divided into two groups. And on top of that, what do you think's gonna take advantage? I guarantee you one thing. Our foreign enemies or even our foreign allies might look at the fact that we're in a civil war and say, I'm going to send my troops over there. Seems like the United States is very, 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 very distracted right now. And I'm going to get what I want. American territory. And then I can conquer whatever other countries I want to conquer. Guaranteed. We go to civil war now. I guarantee you Europe will have to fend for itself when it comes to Russia invading Ukraine. I don't know how y'all feel about the Russian-Ukraine war going on right now. In all honesty, I could care less. The only reason why I care is because if Putin gets all of Ukraine, then he can control the Black Sea, and the Black Sea is like a major export and pretty good naval strategic battlefield for what all you want to conquer next. And then it seems like history's going to repeat itself and basically go back to a certain time when a certain guy in Germany decided they wanted to conquer all of Europe and the world, basically. And then you just gotta look at yourself and think, well, what exactly can I do to change this? Well, oh, and also China possibly invading Taiwan and the rest of the South China Seas, and then North Korea invading South Korea on top of that, and Iran invading the Middle East. Those are advantages they can take. But anyways, what can you do to change this? Stop thinking one way and just start thinking about the middle. Quit choosing one side over the other. Look at what the other side's saying and then come to the conclusion yourself whether you agree with it or not. You know? And stop trying to divide. Have people come to you. Have people, be friends. Treat them how you want to be treated instead of thinking, well, you're a dumbass for believing that, so I don't like you. Simple as that. And then you can even go as far too as to unite as American citizens rather than being divided because you're left or right leaning, and then tell the government straight up, we're sick and tired of you dividing us as a nation. It's time for us to seriously get the ball rolling on what's best for America. To be honest with you, time we start focusing on America rather than focusing on our allies. Time to focus on America rather than focusing on other stuff going on in the world. If I would have been president, I would have withdrew all troops around the world except for Japan, South Korea, and maybe some parts of Europe, and say, look, sorry, not gonna do this anymore because we gotta focus on ourselves, and then we'll get back to you guys as soon as everything seems it's okay here in the United States. I mean, hell, we're so divided that literally we got people in the presidency being assassinated. I wouldn't even be surprised if we don't last as a nation for another 5 years. I am willing to bet that. Well, this has been my TED Talk of the day. I'll catch you guys later.